are incidental motions. Now, these are motions that have to do with the running of the meeting and to make sure it's running appropriately, the procedural integrity of the meeting. So the first one is a point of order, and the chair will rule on that point of order. It is interruptible, non-debatable. So if something's happening that's not following the rules, you can stand up and say, point of order, Mr. Chairman. According to such and such rule, we should be, doing this. It should take based on our bylaws, it should take a majority vote, not a 2/3 vote, to limit debate. So that's an example of a point of order. The next one we've got here is appeal the decision of the chair. So say the chair on the point of order that was just raised says, well, I don't think that's right. We're going to keep doing it my way. Someone could rise and interrupt and say, I appeal the decision of the chair. And then he would have to put that to a vote, and a majority would rule of the body would rule and decide whether or not the chair was correct or not. The next item we have is object to consideration of a question. Say a question comes up that you don't want to talk about, and that's not germane to the organization. Say you're a cooking organization and you want to make a motion that you start making some type of widget, and someone could object to the consideration of the question. And that takes a 2/3 vote to totally knock down a question. It is interruptible and it is not debatable. To suspend the rules, another 2/3 vote, because you are, walking on, interrupting what the most people are considering what the rules are. So you're kind of squashing those rules. And it takes more than a majority because you're starting to infringe on the rights of the minority. It is not interruptible, non-debatable, and it's only applicable to certain rules. The bylaws cannot be suspended, and the fundamental parliamentary rules cannot be suspended either. Let's see. The next one we have divide the question. Takes a majority, non-interruptible, non-debatable. If someone makes a motion that is really two separate motions, they should be voted on separately. For example, I make a motion to order in pasta for lunch for the organization and donate $50 to a charitable organization. Someone could arise and say, I move to divide the question. And by a majority vote, those would be separated out to be voted on independently. Move for a rising vote. Anybody can interrupt and say, hey, I thought that the voice vote, which is the first vote that's taken, was really, really close. I move for a rising vote, and the chair would need to accommodate that by asking the people in favor to rise and then doing a head count and asking for the people against and doing another one and then presenting the results. Parliamentary inquiry. If there's a question about how things are proceeding, about what just happened, a member can rise, interrupt, and ask his question. A point of information, and the parliamentary inquiry would be specifically about the procedures. A point of information may be about, what is the current question on the table? What, maybe we've gone through, an amendment, an amendment to an amendment, and gone back and forth, and you're confused about, what's currently on the table. Well, you can rise and for a point of information. I move to take from the table. So when something, because of an emergency, is placed on the table, time was set for taking that business up, a majority can vote to take it from the table and work on it. I move to rescind means that you're going to totally strike out something that passed before. It takes 2/3 or majority with notice. And I move to reconsider. You're going to take an item that has passed and put it back on the table the way it was right before the vote was taken so that you can talk about it again. Majority vote.